Oh, just hit my guitar. All right, welcome back to another episode. Of me checking that it's recording. Is it recording? It is recording. Welcome back. I would like to thank myself for installing this brand new addition to the studio. Yeah, it was nice. I like the black. It's all about ergonomic posture. Whatever that means. Let's break down the new video. That's filming. I think we're good. Yeah. I usually put the little earbuds in, but that's okay.
Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music, like old times. Look, now I'll start the melody on the organ.
Actually, I think I might go get those headphones. Give me 1 second. We're back with the magic of the movies. I have found my bitch beats, as Sebastian Maniscalco likes to say. I hope I didn't just flash you there with my backside. I cut that out. This and we're gonna have a bit of fun when we're doing these, guys. Otherwise, what's the point? This I would like to. The reason I chose this part is because it's two things. One is the aspect of working with effects with the song, and what I mean specifically is that in this case, for example, there's these sort of crackling sounds.
Look, now I'll start the melody on the organ.
And you can use them to your advantage there. I mean, if you notice, if you can hear it slightly.
Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music, like old times. Look, now I'll start the melody on the organ.
You see how that noise and there's the sort of almost bit rate sort of effect is coming in. Yeah, that makes it feel like it's part of the song, and that's something I apologies. That's something I always look to incorporate into the performance. Finding ways to make things feel they're together. They don't always have to be, in your face. They don't always have to be present or, I'm doing an effect. They can be subtle, and then the question is, why would you want them to be there if no one can really hear them? Well, I can hear them, and I feel that if when someone listens to it, oh, that's cool, but it sounds slightly different than the original, I'm going to listen to this one and listen to the full mix as well because of that. And just because someone might not hear it, they might feel it. It might be there might be an emotional quality, and it doesn't matter if no one sees it or hears it. What's important is you doing it, and you having self gratification from that. That's what it's about. It's about pushing yourself and motivating yourself for you to become better at this. And if you're waiting for someone else to tell you, that you're good or something like that, then what's the point? So even if perhaps the audience won't be able to notice that you're adding these things in, it's great to put them in, and it adds that level, that adds a different level of the dimensionality to the mix. You're looking at the mix not from face value, you're not looking at it just from like this. You're sort of stepping inside the song, and you're trying to sort of create your own spin on things. You're playing with the music, you're connected with it. Now, timing, doing it musically. You're not just like you're that's how the music's going, and then you know how to time it well. So when the kick does come in, you cut it off. Now we're playing with it, just checking the levels are good, making sure everything's neutral, checking the new piece, getting it ready. Cool, got a cue point. Now we're adding in some effects. I love doing that stuff. It's cool. Again, like I would like to iterate this. I was about to say illiterate. 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 I'd like to point out the addition of multiple effects, and sometimes you can create things that are spontaneous, like here, by adding one effect with something else. It creates a different vibe to it. Furthermore, you're playing again with the song, so it goes. So you're playing with that melody. You're playing with that recording, and you're almost doing it like your way, the way you would have liked it to sound, in a way. This is all creating, this tension, and it's building up. It doesn't just have to be, 16th notes and 8th notes and 4th notes, and half notes, and then you're reversing that, and halves, 14, 16, they're 32, and then they're 48, and it's building, and till your head pops off. You can build this tension by creating, different effects. So then all starts just multiplying and accumulating. This is how much tension's being built up, and you're doing it in a creative and fun way. Now here, this is something you have to be very, very quick on. When we're looking at this, it's a technique we looked at before when you are doing this quick transition. But we're doing it in a moment here where we're adding a lot of effects. So in this particular instance, we're creating this big build, we're creating all this drama, creating all this, we're we're building up the car chase. It's in the middle of the scene. But the thing is, you build all this up, right? And if you don't cut it all out when you're transitioning so hard into the next one, it just sounds messy, doesn't sound nice, and then the second part of that transition, that next section you're going into, it doesn't have the same impact because you have all this stuff around it. And I noticed this with a lot of productions, that there is a lot of stuff happening, but not when it should be, and then it happens when it shouldn't happen, and then it does this it just doesn't have the same impact because there's just too much stuff happening in the moment and it doesn't need to be. So here we're bringing in the next track, getting it ready. I tend to prefer having the fader down for the track that's coming in, and bringing in only a few seconds before I'm about to do it. That's just how I prefer to do it. That's how I do it most of the time. Sometimes I might have it in straight away, but most of the time I bring it in just beforehand, just so for me it just keeps things clean. Crystal Alger's brother, I remember watching a mixing video of his brothers. Can't remember his name, but it's the brother of Crystal Algae, and he talked about in one of the mixes how he will use a gate on certain plugins that create some noise. So he noticed that some plugins are fantastic, but they add a lot of noise. So he decided he's going to add gates onto each individual sections to minimize that noise. And and then what he says, even he just got used to doing that. That even now, the plugins that don't do it, he just puts it on just in case. And for me, with the fader down, I almost treat it like that. I treat it as a gate. It's just in case. I know that unless it's playing, it's not gonna be any noise. But it's just good practice. It's good practice to keep it down. If you're not using it, just don't have it up. You're dealing with a technology. You're dealing with I don't know. Something might fall on the play button, or it just might randomly start. Like my computer randomly starts. Um, so it's good practice just to keep the faders that you aren't using turned off and only keep the ones you're using. So you notice here, we very quickly building, 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 and then we change, but we keep the effect in. So that's very important. Again, you're maintaining the tail. You're leaving a bit of tail. You're leaving it to sound a little more natural. Because if you just cut, it sounds weird. So you leave the tail, leave the effect on, and when you cut, it creates that tail for you. Because the sounds, from what I can understand, having looked at the circuits for in the manual, before what I can understand is that. When you turn down basically the effects have their um, own, I should say, skip a symbol, own space compared to the faders, and they don't and then the faders aren't in control 100% of the effects. They do play with the music, but if you cut the fader out, you still have a bit of the tail end coming through the volume, through the output, which is really cool. So then as we change, then you also know hand, something we don't talk about, and this is hand placement. So it's almost like when you're playing tennis or you watch some of the professionals, or when you're doing any martial arts, the footwork, that's having those fundamentals are very important. You're making sure your foot's in the right place, making sure your balance is the right. So the making sure your hands are coordinating together, they're in the right place, when you switch over, you position your hands correctly, so then you can do this quick. So you'll notice as we go, we just change positions and we allow from here, we build up the effects, we leave it. My alarm just spazzed everything out. Right here. Note to self, we turn every single thing off and then press record. Because that's the only way it's gonna work. We were talking about correct placement on the hands. So let's have a look. We are building up, right? And we're adding the effects. Now we're switching over. So we're just switching over, allowing the right hand to take control now. And we're bringing the fader from the current track. Because if we'll bring that down. If we don't, it's going to continue playing. This isn't a section where the song's finished. It's continuing. Building, release, allowing the effect to continue. We're switching over the hands. My right hand is on the fader for the current track. It cuts it down. As it's cutting it down, we're playing the track with my left hand simultaneously. And then very quickly I'm cutting out, putting back the effect to neutral as quick as I can, so then the transition and the next song can play clean, because that's, I feel at that moment, the best approach. Because it has this synth, that has the drums, there's a lot happening in there. And you can imagine if you have effects in there, it's gonna just be like everyone's gonna be like, what's going on right now? So here, one final thing that we do is we play around with that magical sort of vinyl break that we've added in for the play button. Very quick, but it adds its own little sort of uniqueness. And once again, we are playing with the piece of music. That brings me to the final point. Let me just stop this, and we are good. Can you please stop barking? You bark all day. It's 9:30 at night. Looking at music in different dimensions. Now, I know you're gonna think I'm sounding like, what is he on about? But looking at music, not just from face value, looking at music from different layers and saying, okay, yes, the piece is energetic, or yes, the piece is fun, etc. But then also looking at, okay, are there some key, vocal shouts? Are there what are some key moments within the music? Is there a cool sort of effect that's happening that I can also recreate live and make it even more dramatic in a performance? So that's something I think should be noted when you are performing. Looking at the pieces and listening to the music more from a person who's created the music rather than just the audience. And then on top of that, the next progression is to listen to what the song is about, particularly if it does have words in it. Using those words to your advantage, not just having some generic vocal female vocal line, and that's it. And it sounds beautiful, and there's a crap ton of reverb on it, whatever. you know, Picking songs that have a particular meaning for you, and playing with those words. And like this one, do you wanna be my woo, love woo, whoa? You can use that love, and you can manipulate those final moments in the words, with your own sort of um, you know um, interpretation. You can pitch it up so it sounds more feminine. You can pitch it down, sounds even more baritone. That's just one example of what you can do, and you can even loop a particular vocal part and mix that with something else. And it's about uh, looking at the music from a deeper perspective, from a perspective of you're the one that's created the music, or from a perspective of a creator rather than just an audience member. Um, I hope that made sense, but that's how I feel. Um, that's how I like to approach mixing from multiple layers, and incorporating the words, and creating your own symbolism, and Easter eggs, or meanings, or moments in the mix that can be interpreted deeper. Um, Now, not everything is a message, but if you if you if you look a little bit more into the mix, you can find moments where I am, saying something musically through it, which I think is important when you start getting to a stage when you're able to start, um, um, thinking from that perspective, rather than just on face value, and music. Then you can start expanding that around you, and looking at things from a different lens, and adding different dimensions into the complexity of your mix. There you go. I hope you, as always, found something useful from this one, and I encourage you to go and try it for yourself, and pick songs that not only have a cool rhythm to them, but when you have those songs, find ways to use effects creatively, and manipulate certain moments to your liking, and then take that a step further by incorporating the vocals, um, or the or even if it's instrumental, by the name of the song, and you're sort of creating this clash between that song and this other one, because they have pop cultural references or something like that. And that creates something just fun, and interesting for people who want to watch it again. I'll catch you on the next one.